All right, let's go ahead and start our lesson on writing linear equations. And what's different about today is we're going to use two variables today, two different letters, because we're going to be missing two different things for these problems. So what I'd like you to try first is go ahead and pause the video now and see if you can write an equation for this problem. So when we're writing equation for a problem, first of all, we have to figure out what's missing. The things that we don't know here, the first thing we don't know is what's the total cost, right? Because they say write an equation that represents the total cost. We don't know how much it's going to cost in total. So when you don't know something, you assign a variable. You let a letter equal what's missing. Now, what's the other thing that's missing though? What's the other thing we don't know? We know it's $4 per ride. We know it's 50 cents every picture, but what we don't know is how many pictures someone will take. And the cost will vary, which is why we use a variable because the cost isn't always the same, right? How much will you pay? Well, it depends. How many pictures do you take? Your price is going to change with each number of pictures that you take. So that's why we'll need a second variable this time. We'll need a second variable that represents how many pictures you take because they don't tell us how many pictures you take. So since two things are missing, we can use two variables here. Now that we have our two variables, we can write our equation. So let's make sure this makes sense, okay? And most of the time in most math classes, right, we have two types of equations. Either we're adding some stuff up, it could be more than one or two things to equal a total, right? That's most equations. And some of the things you're adding up could be negative, which means some things could be subtracted or whatever. But some stuff equals total. That's most of the equations. The other equations is something equals something else. Okay. So one thing equals something else. Like when is this company charged the same as that company? Or when is this going to be as far as this? And then so either adding stuff up to equal a total or something equals something else is almost all of our equations in math classes up to a certain grade, right? So for now, that's really all we got to remember. So let's just go ahead and look at this. So are we saying when is something equal to something else? Or are we adding something up to equal a total? Well, they actually even tell us in the problem, don't they? So I'm going to add some stuff up to equal a total. Okay, so the total cost is going to be equal to adding some stuff up. Well, we have $4. And it even says the word plus for us, 50 cents. But it's not just 50 cents one time, right? It's 50 cents every time you take a picture. So this is really what it looks like. I shouldn't have put any numbers there yet. Let me show you what it looks like. So the total is going to be the amount, the initial charge. Okay, so we'll call this what? We'll call this the initial charge. How much it costs just to do the ride. Initial charge. We'll just put in initial money and money for pictures. Pause the video real quick and make sure this sentence makes sense to you. So what you pay is how much they charge for the ride and how many pictures you take. That's a pretty simple idea, isn't it? So if you do what I'm doing right now, you kind of make a simple idea out of it before you try to write a, algebraic equation for it. It's not as hard. So we make sense of it. We assign a variable. We say what's missing. Total cost is missing, so I'll let one letter equal that. And what else is missing? How many pictures we're taking is missing, so I'll let another letter equal that, or another variable equal that missing value. So now we can write the equation. So the total cost, we don't know that, right? We don't know how much we're going to pay. It depends on or equals how many pictures we take. But so if I don't know something, I'm going to let that just be a letter. I don't have a number for that yet. So the total cost will be C. C for cost. It makes sense, right? And yes, you can use X and Y and all that if you want. Now, initial cost, they gave us that. So they gave us the 4. Plus, how much per picture? It's 50 cents. 50 cents is 0.5. 0.50 is 0.5, right? But it's not just 50 cents. It's 50 cents every picture. So that's where you put another letter. So if it's every picture, each picture, per picture, uh, a slash, when you see those things, each, every, per, slash, that usually means you're going to put the letter right there. Okay, so our equation looks like this. So this is put what's in called descending order, right? We're going to put our variables before our constants, before our numbers with no letters. And that's how you'd write an equation with two variables from a word problem. So let's go ahead and try this now. I want you guys to practice. Pause the video, try to assign two variables for the two things missing, and write this equation now. So it looks like we don't know total cost because they say it in the question, right? So I'll let C, I'm going to let C equal total cost. Well, I'm having a hard time with this tablet today. Total cost. Okay. Well, what else is missing? It says you're going to pay 85 cents each mile driven. So we don't know what's going to vary how many miles we drive, right? Sometimes they'll drive you 1 mile, sometimes they'll drive you 10 miles. It depends where you're going. So since that varies, we use a variable there. So I'm going to let another letter, whatever letter it is, we'll say M for miles. M equal number of miles driven. And we'll just say miles for short. So now let's make sense of the problem. The total cost, the money you're going to pay, total money, total, I'm going to write out of space. I'll just call it totes. Totes money is going to equal $5 and, let's keep it simple. Let's not put any numbers or symbols in there yet. Let's just use words. Let's just make sense of it first. Let me try to write more legibly here. Okay, so we're going to say this. We're going to say total money. And this is one of those two types of problems, right? Either I'm adding stuff up to equal a total or something equals something else. That's really all we got to worry about. So the total is initial charge, right? Initial charge means the first one. What do they charge just to get into the cab? Initial charge and how many miles, right? Money for miles. That's what the total is. They're going to charge you to get a ride, and they're going to charge you extra for each mile. Does that make sense? That would be the total. Just add those two up. Because if it does, you can write this equation. So the total is missing. C. Initial price is $5 and 85 cents each mile means 85 cents times M. So each tells me that's where my letter goes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our next problem. And if you guys use different letters, you're not wrong. As long as you had the same idea. So go ahead and pause the video now and try this one. So let's try this problem here. We're going to go ahead and see, what are they asking me? Write the equation for total cost, okay? So I'm obviously missing total cost. So I'm going to assign a variable. I'll let C equal total, find this cursor here. C equal total cost. All right, and then let me go ahead and what else is missing? It says you get a video game charges $3. So you're going to buy this bonus pack from this video game, right? And included in the bonus pack, you get some stuff. But if you want extra stars, every star you get is going to be an extra 25 cents. So it depends on how many stars you get, right? We don't know how many stars you want to buy. That could vary. So we use a variable. We're going to let's say S equal extra stars. So this is assuming some stuff comes with this pack that you buy in this video game. They give you some stuff, give you some stars, but if you want more bonus stars so you can cheat and get ahead of everybody else, you're going to have to pay 25 cents each star. Another way they're tricking you out of your money, aren't they? So let's go ahead and figure this equation out. The total cost, the money, this is like most equations in math classes. We're adding stuff up to equal a total. Is going to be a charge, initial charge, initial charge, and money for each star. And let's make sure that this makes sense to you. All the money is for the pack and a little extra for each star. Does that make sense? Because if it does, really, you can just write this equation, no problem. We don't know how much the total is. When we don't know something, we let a letter equal that. So the cost is going to equal the initial charge is $3, and it's 25 cents each star. That's a hint that that's the number that goes in front of a letter. Each what? S stands for stars. 0.25 or 2500ths S. Now, we're going to put this in descending order. Not sure if I did it on the last one. It's a little better to put the S first, and I'll try to make a difference between my 5 and my S. I hope you can see the difference. Plus 3. Well, alrighty then. Let's move on to the last one for the day. You guys pause the video and see if you can write the equation for this problem. So, we don't know total cost, so we'll let C equal total cost. You guys remember what this is called? What am I doing right now? This is called assigning a variable. We don't know how many miles we're going to drive, so we'll let M equal number of miles. We're going to make sense of the problem. The total is going to be one of those ones where I'm adding stuff up. Equals, there's a flat fee and charge per mile. Does that make sense? All the money you're going to pay is what they charge you plus extra for each mile. Let's just plug it in. We don't know total, we'll put a letter. We know flat fee, put it there. You know how much per mile? Put it there. But you don't know how many miles, put another letter, and that's it. That's how you, whoa, Nelly. Whoa, Nelly. What did I do wrong? You guys see my mistake? Find my mistake. Yep. I put the total cost there. I'm supposed to put miles there. It's per mile, not per total cost. That doesn't make any sense. And how would this look in descending order? Hopefully you said this to the screen right now. And what would be another way to write this same equation? Of course, you can use different variables, right? X and Y. Or you could even leave this in descending order and put the C on the right side. That's the same equation, isn't it? All right. Well, you know what? I had one more for you today, but I think that is good. You guys have got it. We will see you guys soon.